Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Kate McQuade. She's the Director of Marketing at P360. Kate, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Kelsey.
Yeah, excited to have you. So Kate, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been in marketing for a little over 18 years, have always been in the IT space, and now most recently been in the life sciences space, and just have kind of worn a lot of different hats in my career, and excited to be here and talk about it.
Yeah, fantastic. So worn a bunch of different hats, and now you're at P360. Tell me a little bit more about P360.
Well, P360 is a solutions company that deals with pharma and biotech companies. And so we deal with all types of solutions from communication, engagement, as well as dealing with the ever cumbersome data that can be siloed and using AI and machine learning to make it more reachable and make it so that you can actually use that data that you're collecting from multiple different sources.
Okay, interesting. Break down what some of those solutions look like to me.
Sure. So Zing is actually our solution, which is pharma to HCP communication. So to the HCP, to the healthcare providers, it's actually frictionless. There's no app to log into. There's no logins to remember. It's really just one simple native way of getting their text messages. It's all compliant focused so that you don't have to worry about the regulations on the pharma side, which there's a lot of that in life sciences. Yeah. You can do anything from a video calling to co-browsing to QR codes to signature capture to getting information basically as they need it on demand for that HCP, which is hugely vital, as opposed to some other platforms that you would have to log into different logins to be able to do a video call or to get answers when they need it. So it's really to kind of make that streamlined for the HCP to make that communication happen faster. We also have Birdseye, which is a different platform which handles commercial operations on the back end. So that's taking a data lake of information that people have of siloed information coming from, whether it's from doctors in a hospital to maintenance to, the pharma reps, and just having them all talk to each other with AI and machine learning to handle forecasting, handle territory assignments, knowing which sales reps needs to go where at what time, and to be able to map out their day-to-day automations for their marketing as well as their sales footprint in a more strategic manner. So it's really just about solutions, about connecting and making sure that you're saving time, because at the end of the day, that time is really the most valuable commodity, and we help to streamline it.
I was just about to say, it sounds like your goal is to streamline a lot of processes for these companies. So is that one of the biggest ways that you would say P360 is able to stand out from its competition?
Exactly. The biggest advantage we have is agility. We have been in the marketplace for long enough that we have the expertise. We have so many talented people on our staff, and we've been through the ins and outs that we've weeded out what works and what doesn't work. But we're also small enough that we can be agile and customizable to whatever the customer needs. So our biggest thing is somebody comes to us and they say, hey, we have these insurmountable problems that XYZ can't meet. And we say, hey, we've got you. You want it in 6 months, we'll do it in 4 months. And we will work with a customer to make sure that their needs are being met. And it really helps to be agile and to be able to move with the company at the speed that they need it, because telling someone that they can have it, but not for 18 months is just not feasible in any industry, especially not life.
No, I completely agree with you. That's really interesting. So what would you say, you talked a little bit about having your customers. Is there a specific size customer that you tend to see P360 working better with? Or is it, I know you talked about the industry, but is there a specific size customer?
So great question. We actually have a limitless opportunity to reach all different types of company sizes. Kind of that sweet spot where it's really easy for us to integrate with is going to be those medium to larger size companies. Sometimes those really large 800-pound gorillas, it can be a larger lead up. And that just has to do with they have legacy technologies in place. So sometimes once you have that in place and you're dealing with someone who's huge like a Google, it's going to be really hard to unwind that and to shift to somewhere else, even if they know that their current solutions are broken or they're not functioning properly. So even though they know we could be more efficient just unwinding that and moving to something that's going to help them can be a little more daunting. So of course, that's going to be a little bit more challenging to kind of get your foot in the door. So the people that are just under that level, the 600-pound gorilla, the 400-pound gorilla, those are kind of the sweet spot where they really know they have an issue that they need to solve. We can get in there and we can make that solution happen for them in a timely manner. So, and that's again, it goes back to time. So you're saving them that time, that ease of use, making sure that their data is something that they can use in a secure and compliant manner.
Yeah. Would you say that's one of the biggest challenges that your customers have before they start working with you, is just like the inability to kind of work through that data and really like old legacy systems?
So it depends on what platform we're working on. If you're looking at our commercial operations side, so like our Bird's Eye platform, then absolutely. A lot of times people are coming to us because they have that siloed data and they don't know how to use it. They're like, yeah, it's great. I have all this information that I'm collecting from X, Y, and Z, but they're not talking to each other and I don't know how to make it happen. I know we need automation for our sales team or for our day-to-day operations for marketing. I don't know how to make that happen, or we don't have a system in place that's working seamlessly to make it happen in a functional, intentional way. And that's where we can come in and really solve all those problems and tick and tie them together so that they have something that's usable and really propel them into the future and work with them as they grow and scale according to their needs.
Interesting.
Other platforms too, like Zing, which is actually that communication platform between pharma and HCPs. That's actually going to be more about the communication, being there to be to make that connection a lot sooner. Because 15 years ago, you used to have a pharma rep go and wait at a doctor's office, and they would wait in the waiting room, and then they would go see the HCP, and they would give them their samples, their brochures, and then they would move on to the next office. And now, especially after going through the pandemic that we just faced over the last, coming up on 3 years, that's not how it's done anymore. Sometimes you can't even wait in the office, especially at the height of the pandemic. Sometimes when you wait in the office, you're not going to be able to get in to see the HCP. And now there's a lot of regulations too about what you're allowed to leave, how long you're allowed to wait, when you're allowed to see them. And so really having something that is seamless to the HCP, not giving them any more work, any more login for them to have to deal with. That really helps to streamline that and make those connections still there, because the pharma rep still needs to tell the HCP about their solutions or what's going to happen, coming down the pike to help their patients. And they still want to have that information from what we're hearing from the HCPs. So really tick and tying them together so that they can connect is the goal at the end of the day that we help find that solution for.
So it sounds like COVID really had an impact on P360.
It did, actually. So it was actually over 2 years ago that we launched Zing, which is that platform. And of course, there's been, evolutions between now and then with more bells and whistles and more features coming out all the time. And we're still working on some now with our roadmap. But of course, COVID really did impact that connection and that availability for that pharma rep and the HCP to connect and talk. And so Zing just was perfect timing to be able to get in there and really have that engagement platform presented to those pharma companies and those biotech companies as another way for them to interact and engage in a meaningful manner, that while you're still being compliant and following all the rules that the regulations have put in place.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So what would you say the biggest misconception would be, either about P360 or, the space, the relationship between, the pharma rep and the HPC? What would you say that would be? Or HCP?
So I think, between the pharma rep and the HCP, I think a big misconception is that things are going to go back to the way that they were. And there's no way to do that. Because quite frankly, even though maybe the people in those individual industries will want that to happen, there's regulations that are coming out more and more often. And you really just need to keep up with those regulations to make sure that you're being compliant and being relevant, and you're still getting the information that you need. It's never going to go back to all in person all the time. And you need to figure out another way to move with the times and to move into the future, but still keep it easy and seamless and frictionless for that HCP, which is what Zing does.
Yeah.
From another standpoint, from what we think that's a barrier there, is that when you deal with companies that want to make a change and then they see it as, oh, it's insurmountable, there's too much. So again, with that 800-pound gorilla, if they think that it's too much to overcome, so they're a little bit nervous to get started, that is definitely a barrier that we have to work through to get them to understand that it's, you don't have to jump in with 2 feet. You can really do a piece by piece and a modular approach. And that's usually how you kind of get your foot in the door and can really show them that the proof is in the pudding, that this really does work and we really can have these solutions for you.
Yeah. So for people who are listening to this podcast, know somebody, may need a solution themselves, how would they start, to begin working with you?
Sure. I mean, they can just go to our website, which is P360.com. There's a lot of information on there, lots of CTAs. They can contact us and then reach out, email to us. We can show you a quick demo. We can give you that sandbox environment so that you can see it in real world action. We have a lot of interactive videos on there. We have a chief medical officer, Dr. Mara, who has some video content both on our webpage as well as our YouTube channel that can help kind of walk through exactly what the platforms does, as well as like some needs for the HCP from that side perspective. So there's a lot of information out there, but please contact us and we can help walk you through that.
That's great. That's great. Good to know. So, Kate, if you wanted to leave our listeners with either kind of one thing about P360, about Birdseye, about Zing, what would you want to leave our listeners with?
Just that we are customizable, we're scalable, and we're agile. So we will really take whatever needs that a client has. And even those our solutions are robust and have those bells and whistles that almost everybody can use just the way it is. We love a challenge to be able to meet your needs. So if you have a challenge that you think is insurmountable and, I don't think we can find that solution, just give it to us. We can work through that with you, and we can scale and customize with you to make it exactly what you need and to be able to grow with you. Yeah, those are 3 phenomenal characteristics too. I'm going to jot those down for those are some of the best characteristics and qualities a company can have: scalable, agile, and customizable. Those are the 3, right? That's fantastic. Well, Kate, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk about P360, the solutions that you offer, the space that you're in. I thought it was a great conversation, and I really appreciate you being on Business Ninjas today. Thank you so much for having me again, Kelsey. I appreciate it. Yeah, great to have you.
Hey, are you a business ninja? Want to be interviewed like this? Give us a shout. Go to www.writeforme.io, WriteForme.io, and schedule a time to meet with us, and we'll make it happen. Keep slaying it, y'all.